7:04, we will open the October 7th, 2020 Martinville Planning and Zoning meeting. In accordance with, can everybody hear? In accordance with order of the Office of the Governor issued March 31st, 2020, and in accordance with the subsequent orders issued by Office of the Governor issued after that date. In accordance with Martinville Planning and Zoning Commission will conduct a regular meeting at Town Hall, 1941 East Street Road, Martinville, Texas, 76226. Order of the Office of the Governor issued March 31st, 2020, and in accordance with the subsequent
Hi,
Office of the Governor.
Tracy, could you mute your I think we're getting some feedback.
Planning and Zoning Commission will conduct a regular meeting. Feedback? Okay. And by video conference in order to advance the public health goal of limiting face-to-face called social distancing to slow the spread of the coronavirus.
Tracy, I'm sorry. Could you mute your microphone, please? Could you mute your I think we're getting some feedback.
Okay. Public will be ready to offer public comment. Yes, teleconference video provided by the agenda and is permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by joining the meeting at www.zoom.com or by calling the toll-free dial-in number of 877-853-5257. The meeting ID number is 817-3894-9504. And the passcode is 002359. To request to speak at the appropriate time, raise your hand via video or enter 9 on your phone. The identity of each speaker must be clearly stated prior to speaking. Pledge of Allegiance. 9504. Passcode is 002. Request to speak at the appropriate time, raise your hand, video, or answer 9 on your phone. The speaker must be clearly stated prior to speaking. Appointment of officers. First is review of ordinance 684-20, limiting terms for chair positions.
Yes, just wanted to inform P&Z and BOA when we have our next meeting that in March 17th of 2020, Town Council passed an ordinance that essentially that there's now a 2-year successive term limit. It's 2 one-year terms, and that is the limit beginning with the appointment on October 2020.
Okay. Appointment of chairman and appointment of vice chairman. So does that mean we need to change that now or not?
Just, I guess, starting today, that there cannot be more than 2 one-year terms for chairs and vice chairs. Oh, Mike, please.
Are we nominating new chair and vice chair today?
Yes, and it can be
You're not on
it can be the people who are currently, because this doesn't go into effect necessarily this year, just that starting this year you cannot have more than 2 one-year successive terms.
So are you saying in 2 years from now they will not be able to succeed? Is that what you're saying?
If you appoint the same person in the same role for 2 years, they cannot continue for a 3rd year.
I would make a motion. Can we make a motion at this point? Yeah. I would like to nominate Alpha Chairman.
Second. I nominate Gloria McDonald to be vice chair.
I'll second.
Okay. Public participation. Is there anyone to speak to something other than the agenda item? Nobody respond. Discuss and consider approval of the September 2nd, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Anybody have something that is incorrect on that?
I didn't find any.
Okay, a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Don and second by Harry. All in favor?
I make a motion to call an executive session, please.
I'll second.
Favor?
We'll be going into
Ask
executive
everybody.
session, so our lobby is open. Unfortunately, COVID rules.
There was a margarita machine in there, but we had to make it.
To those who are attending via Zoom, we're going into executive session, so you will be, I guess, moved into a breakout room momentarily. Hi, can everyone on Zoom hear me? Great, thank you. We'll be starting the meeting shortly.
At 7:26, we will close the executive session and go back to normal meeting. Okay, discuss and consider recommendations to the town council regarding a waiver from Chapter 10 subdivision regulations, Exhibit A, Development Ordinance, Chapter 3, Subdivision Design Standards, Section 3.5, lots, subsection B, to allow for the creation of a flag lot on an irregularly shaped tract of land. Property is 105.82 acre tract of land and being described as Lot 2, Block A, Robert Evans Ranch Edition, Town of Bartonville, Denton County, Texas, located on the southwest side of West Jeter Road. Property is generally described as 1047 West Jeter Road. Applicant.
Would the applicant or a representative on Zoom like to give a summary of the project?
Evening. Find it impossible to remember new people that I meet when everybody's wearing masks.
Yeah.
So if
Sir,
I don't
if-
recognize you the next time I see you.
If you could state your name and address, please.
Bob Evans, 480 East Jeter Road, Bartonville. Let's do this a simple way. Everything you need to know on one piece of paper. And I'll try to give you we're here to trying to get a waiver on this flag lot issue. But I thought I'd share with you what we're trying to do with the property in total, just out of general interest. And it dawned on me, when this week was last week, I was out there doing some work and somebody drove up and introduced themselves. I said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I didn't tell him I was the buyer." I said, "I'm just out working." He said, "What are they building here?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, we heard it's a gas station." I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure it won't be a gas station."
Thank you.
So do me a favor, orient it so that it says up here in yellow south top. So I'll try to give you directions and left, right, up, and down. So the red line around the outside of the perimeter is the total acreage, 145 point something. The yellow outlined area is lot 2 that we're discussing. In the blue outlined area, which is 40 acres, is lot 1. The little orange blob on lot 1 is the house site, the new house we're going to build. The blue blob up in the upper right, that's the existing lake plus some expansion. The thing that we're talking about here, that little white line that starts down on West Jeter Road kind of on the bottom of the page. It comes into the property, makes a left turn, comes back right, goes all the way back to the back of the property. Now, that's been there for a minimum of 25 years. I know that because I've got a Google picture from 1995 in the front picture. That serves, if you're going back to that white line, that serves the first house there on the right, outlined in black. That's where Carrie Alcorn used to live. Those of you who know Carrie. A little bit farther back, there's two black circles. One's a stable, one's a kind of a open air equipment storage shed. Then there's the arena. To the left of the arena is an equipment shop and storage area. And just for reference, the green line that goes off the page there at the top is an existing gravel road, goes back onto the first property, intersects with Smoot Lane, essentially what? I'm sorry?
The existing what?
That existing gravel road that leaves the property on the south end.
Is that on lot 2 you're talking about?
Yeah, lot 2, right up here. That gravel road goes up off the top. That's going on to the first remaining 2,000 acres, and next to Smoot Lane or Smoot Road, I can't remember what it's called. There are 4 red X's on the right side of the page, 2 in the lower right quadrant, 2 in the upper right quadrant. Those are 2 houses that we've torn down. So actually, from a growth perspective, we're smaller than when we bought it, in terms of people that can live on the property. And there's a, we call it an artist's shack. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's pretty much destroyed anyway, so we'll be taking that out. And then there's a barn opposite the house site that we'll take out once the house is a little bit farther along. So that's the lay of the land, so to speak. We'll talk about that white line. And the way I think about this is, if we were standing on the red or yellow lines to the left of the white line, we'd be on the east property line of the property. And if we stood there 50 feet, that would get us to the far edge of the railroad stack. First time we went through, we just did it. What I think about that is 100 we live with. The extra 150 goes for 5 acres of land sits in this narrow little rectangle. They have run up into the little valley.
So the orange dot in lot 1 is the house that you're building?
Correct. Correct.
That's correct. That's the house you're building.
It's not under construction. We were still doing the architectural design.
Okay.
But we're ready to go.
And you were living back on the back part?
No, we live in another place on East Jeter. We live at 480 East Jeter now.
Can you back up to your, you must have an artist in the house with all of these nice colors you put on here to help us. And I'm glad you did. When you were speaking about 100 or the 150 feet, you were on the white driveway that takes you to lot 2, correct?
Correct.
And explain to me again from the blue line, which is your proposed lot 1 east property line, to the red is about 100 feet
Yeah,
in width.
approximately. It's impossible to draw on a map this size and be accurate to 100 feet.
I'll
But
take your word for it.
That's what we were trying to do.
Okay.
And the actual plat drawings show 100-foot width around that white gravel road.
Okay.
So is there a house back on lot 2?
There is, just as you get off the White Gravel Road entering Lot 2, there's a house on the right.
Is that,
That was Alcorn's.
That was Kerry Alcorn's house. He lived there 20-something years.
So,
We're fixing it up a little bit, and one of our family members will move in there whenever the fix-up is done.
so you're creating this lot instead of leaving it as one big one.
And that's because it's an estate planning issue.
Okay.
The 105 acres, Lot 2, is owned by the Robert Louis Evans Charitable Remainder Trust. So that's a trust to my benefit that's managed by my brother as trustee. The blue lot is owned by me as an individual. So the only reason we went with 2 lots is we had a estate planning issue that we had to deal with. That was the way to do it.
So help me understand this one thing. And that is you have the 300 feet footage on the road.
Right.
So if you're not going to do anything with it, then why not come straight down that, what's the number of it? 151741, and then you're not creating a flag lot at all. You're not doing anything. Okay. Here's this already existing piece. So if you instead of did that, if you just did that, there is no flag lot. If it's all,
That's true, but there's problems with that. One is, see the purple dot?
yes,
That's the highest point on the property. There's a 108-foot elevation change on the property. That's the highest point.
okay,
The reason that road goes, the reason the white road comes in, the white gravel road comes in today and goes left is for 2 reasons. We didn't put it there. It's just the way it is. So I'm interpreting this as their reason. One is, if they went straight into it, they have to climb that hill. That's a lot of money to move the dirt necessary to do that. I mean, we're talking 50, 60 feet of elevation. The other reason is, if between the east property line on West Jeter Road and the gravel driveway entrance, that's as close as you can move the driveway to that property line, because cars come over the hill on West Jeter Road, they wouldn't have enough time to stop if you were pulling in or out of the driveway. So we're kind of stuck with that location.
well, that would also cut through your house, wouldn't it? Just move the house.
It would be close.
okay.
So we'd go through another
That-
re-siding on the house. I don't want to
You
overstate
wouldn't have
that.
enough, you wouldn't have enough setback on your house if you moved it over to that.
Okay, that's
That
the
makes
part
sense.
that's the piece I was missing right there.
And I'm assuming that there's a reason that you want the house like that.
Yeah, the biggest reason is, and Tom or Brad can tell you, my goal was no trees. We're not going to lose any trees doing this. And so far, we have 1 tree that's endangered in our plan. So if we move that orange blob to the left, we start taking out trees. We move it to the right, we take out some trees. We can't move it back to the north. That takes out a bunch of trees.
That's a big selling point, Martinville.
Well, they're
Not
beautiful.
to take out the trees.
I lived in Lake Forest, Illinois, when Mr. T, remember him, was living there. In Lake Forest, you had to have the city's approval to cut down a tree over, I think it was 10 inches. He went out one night with a chainsaw and leveled his trees in his yard. It's what he wanted to do. So, yeah, I mean, in the end, anything can be done with money. So we could come in from the current entry point, go straight up the house. I'm betting so if I get to the house, I have to still come over and reconnect to that white gravel road because I need a way to go from the house to the barn and the arena and the shop.
The green line is,
Existing gravel roads that we're going to
okay,
take out.
so that's gonna be That's gonna be your entrance to lot 2, right? Or lot 1?
No, we're taking it out. The entrance to lot 1 isn't shown on this diagram yet.
Okay,
And that would be to come in on the White Gravel Road, turn left, turn back to the right, get past that high hill, and then take a right and go up to the house.
So you'll have to access lot 2, or, excuse me, lot 1 via lot 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
See why I made a picture? This is a confusing one to talk about in the conceptual discussion.
so you would go in to get to lot 1, you're gonna go along the White Road.
Correct. So we get past the purple peak, and then take a right and head over toward the housing site.
That's creating 2 flag lots.
Where you've got lot 1 without ingress egress.
Right. Our predicament is looking at right now, this is all one owner, and it certainly makes sense with your estate planning stuff. But when we create these 2 lots, then suddenly we're looking at somebody coming and buying lot 1 where you're building and no way off of it except to go on to lot 2 that somebody else might own. That's what we're.
But as proposed, that problem doesn't exist, does it?
It doesn't exist, but you're asking us to create something that down the road will exist.
Since lots are split up by future generations, you have lot 1 without waiting out if the lots were separated.
Lot 2 has access, as drawn. Lot 1 requires some action by lot 2 to have access, or some agreement
When
between.
you go down that White Road and put another driveway off of, well, you still have,
Still landlocked.
Do you have besides the one on the flag lot, would you have a separate access to lot 1? Or is that something that you could,
See that green
consider?
stripe going from West Jeter up to the orange?
Mhm.
That's a very small gravel road that served one of the houses that was up there where the red X is that we took out. We'd have to do a lot of work on that road, and we're going to lose some trees. That could be the access, the driveway, so to speak, to the new house.
that would be, instead of us allowing 2 flag lots, which don't, trying to justify allowing 1 flag lot, and now we find out actually what we're gonna be creating is 2 flag lots, because if you're accessing both lots off of that same private drive, that's creating 2 flag lots. That makes a bigger problem.
Is it a problem or is it an appearance of problem? You know what I mean? I mean, is it a problem that somebody has to solve with money, or is it just you don't want to do it as a matter of policy?
Well, it's our policy to not allow flag lots, because they wind up causing us problems, not when the flag lot starts, but 10 years down the road, we have problems. With flag lots, people come back in, well, I want to divide this up.
Let's say I solve the lot 1 problem. I provide some other access to lot 1, completely independent of anything in lot 2.
That would be,
Can I still use the yellow outlined shape for lot two's definition? Don't I still have a flag lot with lot two?
Correct.
That should have gone like a billboard, doesn't it, a flag lot?
The last thing we want to do is, and I want you to understand, Barnville loves trees. The last thing we want to do is make you chop down trees and put a road in. But we have to figure out, is there a way to do this without us creating a lot that's basically landlocked, except by using a separate piece of property, even though right now you own both. That may not always be the case.
Technically, I don't own both now. Trust owns lot two, I own lot one.
So if,
Two that you have access to.
right,
You got full access to that piece.
Ed,
As long as my brother and I get along.
I was just gonna say,
Ed? Ed on?
Yes.
Yeah,
Am I correct in that we're creating two flag lots here?
no, actually you're not, because the frontage of lot one, I'm looking here, is 589 feet.
So,
but there's no
but
access
if,
off
but if
it.
they take, so the frontage would allow, because they have enough frontage, they could use that same road? It wouldn't be considered a flag lot?
Correct. The flag lot is based on frontage.
Okay.
Yeah. When you look at the ordinance, it talks about required street frontage.
So there it,
So it's not a problem if he put another driveway on,
Jeter.
well, no.
no, he doesn't
And he
want to
wants to
do
use the
that.
drive, he wants to get to lot number one from the road that's, is going back to lot number two.
All right, well, that may be a practical thing, but we're talking about a waiver here for what is a flag lot, and that's lot two. Lot one has sufficient frontage, so
doesn't
it's not a
make-
flag lot.
If he's accessing, that doesn't make lot number one a flag lot?
That's
Just
correct.
Because he's got enough access, he does have the access on
He
Jeter,
has the frontage.
frontage on Jeter.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the question for the access really comes at the review of the house plans, correct?
Yeah. It's a practical review then, but we're talking about this replat here. And so lot one has more than 300 square feet of frontage on Jeter.
okay. Then I'm not really opposed to allowing that flag lot the way it is set up. And if lot two, because of the frontage, is not considered a flag lot,
Because this is a waiver, Ed, that would, I don't know, I guess it's unique to this property. My concern is always precedence when we have the next flag lot that comes up.
Well, I understand the point, and it is a usually good point to at least think about. Historically, though, the times that we've seen this, very few times, the properties are all shaped differently and they're different topographical aspects of it, and they're pretty unique. That takes away the precedent argument.
And if I understand it, and I remember that road, I live off Jeter, and that's a huge hill. You really couldn't, without chopping away that hill, have made that any wider than what you did, that arm of the panhandle. Correct?
That's true. I mean, we can barely cut that hill, mow it.
so you're gonna go around the purple dot and then access someplace up
Yeah, if you go around the purple dot, you see that little dark spot on the left of the blue line, about 1 more inch up.
Yes.
That's, you go around that and then take a right and see where there's a line of 3 or 4 trees, and then there's an open space.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of lightly shaded white.
Okay.
That's the basic path of the driveway.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just kind of throwing something out here. If just looking at this narrow strip here and thinking a generation ahead, but let's say this developed back there and they wanted to put a dedicated road, city did, tied to that property. How wide of a,
It's not wide enough for a city road. So it can only be a private driveway.
how wide of a, does it need to be a city road? Do you know?
Know that off the top of your head?
Ed, do you know that? How wide a road has to be?
I'd have to look at our thoroughfare plan, but the right of way could be either be 60 feet or 80 feet. I can't remember. That's a Gary question. But before a road becomes a public road, the town would have to go through a process of creating it. Someone can't just unilaterally create a public road.
I mean, that's a problem that we might have to address at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't think 100 feet is wide enough to put a public road in, so we wouldn't allow it. I can't put a public road in unless the city authorizes it. So. Anybody?
The pressure, I think, is going to come back up here at the top of the page where it says south.
Yeah.
That green goes to orange, goes to red, and then goes to white. All right. That's the existing gravel road. Mr. First's new development will be in here, all the way across the rest of our southern property line. I knew that when I bought the property, so I'm not in any way disappointed or mad that that's happening. But generation ahead, I'd punch a road through there, bring it down to Jeter Road, and a lot of things would be pretty sweet. Now, I remember anything I do here, I'm in this 40 acres living my life. So I don't want traffic driving through my backyard either. But when I'm gone, that's probably the pressure. You can't come from the east because you've got that huge power line easement that goes through there. You can't really come from the west because you've got White's Creek and some real floodplain issues and just a bunch of unstable soil. And you can't come from the south now because that's the new First Ranch development. So we tried to make the best of the situation.
Anybody else have any questions? Somebody want to make a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Do we need to?
Yeah, next step is staff presentation.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Anyone to speak?
Need to open the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
We'll open public hearing at 7:54.
Applicant has made a presentation. Staff has no addition. Is there anyone to speak in favor? Nobody. Is there anyone to oppose?
Does anyone on Zoom want to speak in favor or opposed?
Okay. So really don't have a rebuttal. Hearing closed at 7:50. Public hearing closed at 7:55. Anybody? Any questions?
Can I just ask, just personally, do you intend to maintain this? I mean, yeah, I'm really asking, maintain this one piece of property? Not mine.
Well, the reason we moved down here 5 years ago was, I'll say the kids and the grandkids, but it was really the grandkids. We moved one of them into Bartonville, one of them is in Double Oak. all the grandchildren are within 2 miles of us. This is really for them. This is where they can go hunting and hiking and go camp out over a weekend. And we've taken all the interior fence out so you can ride a horse anywhere on the property without having to stop and open and close gates. And it's a ridiculously expensive extravagance. I completely understand that. But fortunate enough that I can do it, and that's, I'm 68. I got a few years left, I hope. I told my wife Tracy, who's in the upper left corner over there, that the problem with 480 East Jeter, where we live now, is 26 acres. There's nowhere to walk my dogs. This is an expensive solution to the dog walking problem. All right, well, thanks for your time and attention. Do I need to do anything else? Can I leave?
We're not done.
You stay.
I'd stay until we make the motion.
All right.
Motion to approve the waiver. Second.
Second.
Jim second. Harry, made a motion to approve the waiver. Jim second. All in favor? How you doing?
All right. Thank you very much.
Was the margarita machine working back then?
I don't have to go far, and I'm sober now, so I can get home in 10 minutes. And Sylvia, I will come in I will come in and say hello and get to know you a little better. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Oh. And nothing else, we're adjourned at 7:58.
Sylvia, can I unofficially ask the self-power situation? Am I allowed to ask you what's anything new in that? Okay.
On which one are we talking about?
Thank you, everyone. We'll be
Thanks,
closing
Ed.
the meeting.
See y'all later.
Okay.
I can't figure out where we're supposed